Hello and welcome back to 33 Conversations. I'm your host, Michael Aveney. And today's conversation was somebody who is building community at scale, global scale, not by force, but by a simple invitation. Jeffrey Marr is the founder of Practical Philosophy. It's a movement that's now in 55 cities, 25 countries, built entirely on a conversation about curiosity and a belief that people can still get together and think deeply. Jeffrey, thank you. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Michael. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Um, what are you in the middle of right now? Like, what is going on with you? Like, yeah, share with what transformation that you're in the middle of.
Yeah, so pretty well. As you mentioned, we are in 55 cities, and with the goal, with what we're doing at Practical Philosophy, to be around getting it everywhere. So, one thing, not everyone wants to have these deep conversations that we are having in person all the time, but we do want to make it accessible for everyone who does want to have that. So one of our goals is just be in pretty much every major city, ideally in every even small town, just similar to how Alcoholics Anonymous or Toastmasters, if you want to stop drinking, if you want to learn public speaking, you go to those two places. If you want to have a deep discussion and sort of develop your critical thinking skills, we want to be that area where it's like, okay, I could just go to the practical philosophy group and just kind of be known in that space. But in the middle of that, one thing that we're looking at, and I guess one of the obstacles that we're facing is how do we do this in a way that it's self-sufficient? So say, for example, we have a group and say none of the moderators show up, which is something that happened in one of our Mississauga groups, which is a city near Toronto. The one day none of our moderators showed up, but we want to make it as accessible that anyone can just like, okay, well, I'll just take the lead on this because it is a group dynamic. And one of the things that someone said to me was you can't go wrong with philosophy the same way that you can't go wrong in a jam session, right? If you guys get together, a bunch of people, and the goal is to jam, as long as we come together with the idea of the goal is to, question our own beliefs and question our assumptions, then you can't really go wrong with it. So how do we make it so that everyone, I guess, kind of can give themselves permission to do that? And then as well, like recognizing if, say, there is no moderator, these just kind of, we have a place, everyone generally knows how it goes, and there's just something very easy where anyone can kind of just get it started without any input from like a centralized source. So that's kind of what we're in the middle of at the moment, figuring that out.
That's a lot to figure out. But you're in it, you're doing it, you keep moving forward and it keeps growing. So you've got that at your back too. But take us back to how this spark, how did this actually like even come to you? So you're the founder of this. You did yeah, how did this actually start and
So
why?
So pretty well, I was living in Mexico for the last 7 years, and is in 2021, where Mexico didn't really have a COVID, so there wasn't really too much lockdown, but it was still in the general, habitus of society, and people weren't as much meeting in person, and yeah, I just know that for me, the most fulfilling and rewarding thing has always been just meeting up with my friends and chatting and just yapping. And we do that all the time to the point that we have to like literally like go into different rooms and not talk to each other just so that we can actually get some work done. So that's always been the most fulfilling thing that I found in my life. And then as well, whenever people would be going through something, so say it would be a breakup, a spiritual crisis, business issues or anything like that, they would always come over to our house because again, I do mostly live with my friends and we travel around a lot. And we would just sort of all work together and act as like a hive mind, bouncing ideas off of each other. And so that was also very fulfilling. So we just kind of one day formalized that, held our first practical philosophy meetup at the very end of 2021, going into 2022. And yeah, it was just so special, and it like, the way it started was just me reading Marcus Aurelius quotes off my laptop, so it wasn't very exciting, but by the end of it, one of my friends, Mezier, he jumped in and he was like, "I wanna go around the table and ask, does everyone think that everything happens for a reason?" And when we had that discussion and everyone kinda we went person to person, I remember making eye contact with someone, we were like, beautiful what's happening. And we're only scheduled for an hour and a half. We ended up speaking for 3, 4 hours, and everyone just decided we got to do this again. And so when it's sort of like I'm the founder, I can't really even take that much credit for it because all I really did was I just set the first one up, you know, but the way that it's grown and developed over the last 4 years that we've been doing this has been completely the effort and the energy of people who wanna have these discussions and, like, bring an open mind to these discussions, and as well, people giving us feedback, right? We're just on the ground in one place, but people throughout the world are saying, "Hey, we wanna fix this or do what we can here," and so just it's
So
been a
you're interfacing with the mechanism that you're in contact with all the groups, right? So you're really, because I wonder how this is like you're it's one thing to start one thing, but it's another thing when people are in different places and how all of that came about as well, which we'll talk about in a minute. But like the spark that you were talking about and seeing that energy thread, the event that I had here, I saw the same thing, and it was very moving to it's just such a simple thing to like ask somebody a deeper, meaningful question. That's all I was doing because I wanted to create a connection where we weren't talking at each other, we were talking with each other.
Mhm.
And I had 3 questions. I had 30 minutes. I thought 10 would be enough. And when we got into the meat of it, and I was like, okay, it's time to switch, folks. Got on the mic, and everybody would just look at me and they were like, yeah, we're not going to do that. We just kept talking. Literally, I had to like literally stop and at least do two people. I
Mhm.
didn't want to leave the connection. And it was moving. So did you have that experience too when you saw the energy of what it was that you were creating that was beyond just talking about philosophy? Like when you saw that it was like something different.
Yeah, I mean, it was just sort of I don't even remember who it was that I made eye contact with, but there was a feeling in the air where we just knew something magical's happening right now. And that's similar to your point. One thing of feedback that we do sometimes get, like in the Singapore group and the Vietnam group, someone had mentioned that they wanted to switch halfway through. But if the goal is to have deep conversations, then you would have to restart the topic, right? Because we're not one on one. It's sort of like groups of 6 up to 10 people, right? And we all split into different tables. And so if we split up halfway through, it doesn't get as deep, and then you're just like restarting the conversation. So yeah, for the way that we split it up, it's sort of we do our introduction, we go into we go into our groups, and then we're there. This is our group. We have to make the best of it, right? Share as much as we can, get other people's opinions as much as we can. It's a sort of like a team effort there.
I know people are wanting a deeper connection. I feel it. I see it. But like from your point of view, um, why do you think that this is landing, or why do you see something deeper than we see besides just a connection? Like like the desire to want to do, like you said the keys. Like some people don't want to do this,
Mhm.
but like the people that do, are you starting to get their why, or do you get feedback?
I guess I would say one of the reasons that many people don't want to do this is just because philosophy has a bad name to be academic and pretentious and non-applicable and these sort of things. And so if we had called it sort of deep conversations or something like that, I'm sure more people may be open to it. But, I have a lot of love for philosophy as an idea and as a way of thinking that, of course, like we're going to stick with the practical philosophy as the name. But why do people come? I would say, and what they're getting out of it is like you you're going beyond people's demographic information. You don't necessarily know what people do for a living, and you can be with someone for weeks at a time, and you just kinda know based on how they think about a various topic, right? Because we pick a new topic every week. This week we're doing morality. Last week we did past and future, and so you'll just be able to
Okay.
get an idea around what does this person think, and do I vibe specifically with that person, even though it's not necessarily we're both doctors, we're both surgeons or anything like that. So I don't know if that answers your question, but that
It does. It also made me want to like look up what philosophy meant because I'm like, we all have different meanings for the same words or different interpretations of our perceptions of them. So the study of fundamental nature of knowledge, reality, and existence. So yeah, I could see where when you said that, I did have that image of, snooty people sitting around smoking pipes and that kind of thing with the glass of sherry or whatever. But like what I would think it would be talking about a specific topic, like what you just illustrated that you guys are doing. So I want to know more about because this is something that literally I I I told you before we started recording. I literally the missing part was like starting the community and then having it stay in existence or grow over time. I was thinking that some people would step up and like, have an idea or it could be that. But the reality is that's not really what happens. People just go crickets. And I'm a leader and I'm willing to do whatever for my community. And this is something that I want to bring to St. Louis. So let's talk about what that process looks like. So if somebody's listening to this and they want to be a part of fulfilling your mission and getting this everywhere, let's walk through that. Does that work?
yeah, that works.
Okay. So I'm here in St. Louis. I want to start this. I built um it's already up to 150 people on my mailing list, that people that just want to know more about what we're doing. So, and that could keep growing the more things that we produce and get out there. But like just off the bat, how would I get started, or how do you plug into your ecosystem?
Yeah, so generally speaking, the way it has expanded so far, right, is the same way it expanded off the beginning. We started it in Playa del Carmen in Mexico, but then I'm from a city in a city in Canada called Hamilton, and so as my general social circle understood what we were doing in Canada, they said, "Hey," when one of my friends, Patrick, he said, "When you get back for the Christmas holidays, if you want, we could start this in my house, and I would love to do that and get it off the ground, right?" And then that's pretty well generally like we would like someone would go to say the group in Valencia in Spain and they're just there on holidays, but then they're looking up something to do. They find this, they go to it. They're like, it's very simple and it was very deep and it was beautiful. And so we've had a lot of people, they will go to the one in Valencia, for example, and then they started one in Krakow in Poland, started one in Warsaw, started one in Lyon in France, and so, they kinda act as a hub to help with someone who travels around, they can kinda go do that, so, generally speaking, they would reach out and say, "Hey, I wanna start this up." We have a on our website, we have sort of I think it's called Get Involved or Start Your Own
Okay.
Host Your Own Group, and then you just fill out a form, let me know a little bit, and then we just have a call similar to this, and as we expand, we will have to start doing kinda like a group call for onboarding because, we can't have a call for everyone, but as of right now, it's just one-on-one, just sort of, number 1, making sure you're not going to, your vibe is good, so you're not crazy, you're not gonna kill everyone if they do show up, right? That's an important aspect of it, and then, yeah, just, like, as a way to explain sort of here is what we're here for, right? It is this group discussion, it's not to we're not trying to create a sermon or something like that where you're just going to build a following of people who can all listen to you and your direction. It's sort of, here's our guidelines, here's what we're working towards, and here's, like, the vision that we have for this, and so then, yeah, we would just kinda figure out the logistics, location, time of the day, day of the week, what works? Do you wanna do it weekly, biweekly? Do you have anyone else who can kinda help support as well right at the beginning? But generally speaking, we like to just get the first one done and then figure out how was this as a location, right? So you can meet in a coffee shop, you can meet in a park in the summer is a great spot to do it. We have few co-working places that we meet out of. So you just gotta figure that out, and then you go to one place and you're like, "Ah, it's actually not the best ambiance or something like that, right? And then
Mhm.
then you just start it's a community within our society, right? So then you're like, "Hey, anyone have any ideas on where else we could do this?" And the people will be like, "Yeah, like I'm a member of this co-working place, we can do it there," or "I go to this library and these."
Yeah. That's a great idea. Just even like, when you were saying that, there's a coffee shop here that does that for LGBTQ meetings, and like, okay, yeah, there are spaces now that you're saying that.
Mhm.
So, okay, yeah, I'm totally on board.
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't
So
have
you do go through the process, then you set it up. Do you offer like themes or different what are the hosts facilitators expected to create, or is it or something they can plug and play? How
Yeah.
does that work?
Yeah, so generally speaking, we pick a new topic every week, and then since we've been doing this week in and week out, we do have a spreadsheet with every topic that we've ever done as well as the jump off points. So the way we would usually launch a new one is we have like 5 to 10 topics that are just certified bangers. Everyone loves them. And so it's
I
like
love
when
it.
you're starting a new group, we all know it's going to be good. Like next week will be censorship. I don't really know how that one's going to go. So we don't put it into the great conversation folder just yet. It just kind of goes into to the main one. But there's certain ones that are very good, like the topic of relationships. The topic of victimhood is actually quite good. Love, these type of things, how to live a good life. These are topics that everyone generally really enjoys. So yeah, usually we want to make it as easy and we can be as involved as we want to be, but again, it's decentralized, and we would like to eventually get to the group votes on their own topics and decides their own topic, their own jump off points, and then it's completely decentralized, but we can, I'm picking, say, the topic for 30 groups per week and just giving them different jump off points for that one topic. If you don't want to go with that, you can use any of the ones in our list, or you can kind of choose for yourself. So pretty much we've tried to make it as like a ready-made community as we can. So if you're just like, I just want to kind of see how it goes, then we can just choose it all for you. Or if you're like, okay, let's branch out a little bit, then that's fine too. So whichever, we can be as involved or not involved as required.
I love it. And then how many people? Does that depend on the space, or you said you break into groups? If it's more people, like how do you can divide the amount? I mean, because I
Yes.
could see this being attracting a lot of people.
Yeah, so our biggest group we had was 150 in Toronto. So 150 people. We just take over this big cafe called Alternity, and it's like this very spiritual cafe. It's a good vibe, and they're meeting tonight as well, actually. But yeah, generally speaking, as long as you have 5 people, it's a good conversation. And so, pretty well, what happens is you would show up, everyone just kinda hangs out for the first 15 minutes and then just kinda gets to know each other in this unstructured environment, and then whoever the host is will do the introduction, and then they will go off and all the groups, sometimes you give people numbers if it's sort of a co-working place. If it's like a park, you give people numbers, just let them go. Like, "Okay, you guys are group 2, go wherever you want," like, wherever in the park you wanna go there. So yeah, the job of the facilitator is just to kind of set the tone with the introduction, set the intentions, kind of similar to what we did before
Hmm.
this podcast, and it was sort of just like kind of giving out the guidelines, just because even though we try not to really have too many rules, it's like no side talking. Make sure you remember that this is a group discussion. Don't attack other people. Don't speak like you're the final authority on a subject. Just very basic guidelines, but just reiterating them helps to keep top of mind. Like, okay, this is how we
Yeah,
talk here, and then the ideal will be everyone can carry those out into the real world, into their work, into their family, into their relationships. Like, okay, let's actually have these conversations where we're not trying to win, we're not trying to be right, and yeah, it's quite beautiful. And then, yeah, we just talk for hour and a half, and then we come back together. Every group gives like, "Hey, here's what we talked about that I thought was interesting." And then it turns
I
into a
love it.
discussion, and say that's good with like 40, 50, 60 people. And then, yeah, after that, just kind of we take a big group photo usually. Whoever wants to be in the picture can. Whoever doesn't want to be, also great. And then we just go off. But yeah, if it's only 5 people, it's a lot less organized because you don't have those numbers when it's a big as when it's a big group. So yeah, it's very chill, and I guess I would say as well, we meet in a Starbucks in Manila, in Philippines, and obviously, because we're just in a public place, we don't do like a big introduction speech, but we just sort of go table to table, like, hey, this is the guidelines. Anyone new, and everyone kind of finds their own groups. We just sort of sneakily take over the Starbucks that we're in. The people who work there don't even know what's happening, but it works out.
And how do you, do you have any guidance on how to share this or how to communicate so that your message stays on point about what it is and what people are coming to?
Well, yeah, so when we do onboard new hosts, we do have a document that says like, "Hey, here's the introduction," and then as well, we did write this book here, Anatomy of a Yap Session, which is pretty much just the like a very short, just like guidelines of if you want to start this, here's everything that we believe, which is pretty
Love
much
it.
we don't really believe much. It's just sort of we just want open conversation and we want to be open with each other. So, and then everyone can fill in the blanks on their own because we're just sharing perspectives.
So do you do this where are you at right now? You're still in Mexico?
No, no, I'm not in Mexico anymore, I'm in Canada.
Y- Okay. So do you do this every week there?
In Canada, yeah.
Yeah. What's the feedback that you get from people that attend it?
It's
Like your
amazing.
own personal, yeah.
Yeah, people often come, they just say, "This needs to be studied," like, this is that's one we got yesterday, someone because we are doing a research study on how we can combat loneliness by having these discussions, and one person said, like, "I saw that, they applied to be one of the subjects in this research, study that we're doing." Like, as soon as I came here, I knew that this is something that needed to be studied, what we're doing. And, I get a lot of feedback from, say, new immigrants to the country. They're like, I didn't have anyone else. I don't have these type of conversations often with my friends and family. It doesn't go this deep, but especially moving to a new country, I didn't I didn't know where to turn to get this, and this is very good because deep and you're with the same people, kinda like a lot of the times it's like people come on repeat and you build like a very deep connection with these people who come, so, yeah, it turns into like a nice little community. Trying to think of other feedback I get, just sort of yeah, just like a sense of belonging that people have, opening up new perspectives. People also say they feel dumb, right, in a good way, 'cause they come and someone shares like this great idea and they're like, "Damn, I didn't even think of that, like, let me go back to the
Yeah.
drawing board and ponder on it over
Dumb
the
in a
next."
good way.
Yeah.
That's my whole day today. That I put that in quotation marks because it's like I've been so reminded today just how like it's so easy to get in our heads about everything that we're doing, everything we're building. At the end of the day, none of that shit really matters. It's like it's the connections, the talking to people. That's the thing that lights me up every day when I'm on calls and like every day when I'm on pods. Yeah, I don't wanna do anything else
Mhm.
anymore. Like, it's really it's, taking over, and I find myself I have to modulate, my last conversation that I was having was just with a really we ended up being just connecting at a soul level pretty much instantly. So our pod today was, like, totally different. It was just this mirror situation that, um, allowed me to see that what I've been wanting to put into the world because it's one thing just to be at home alone and having a great idea, but it's another thing to be out in the world with it. And it changed my perspective. And I didn't see how me wanting to connect with others and causing connection in the world uh, had this energy that showed up in my body over the last couple of days of what I now realize felt really shitty, but like and disconnected and gross and like nobody's listening to me and you just kind of get in your head. Cause it's like it can go from like constant contact to crickets. And it's like, ooh, is this landing? You lose your like feedback. But what I realized was I had stopped taking the time because I busied myself so much that I stopped my sacred time in the morning to connect with me.
Mhm.
And that if I can't connect with deeply with myself, how the hell am I gonna connect deeply with others or cause that in the world? And I got checked today with that. And then as soon as I saw it, ah, back, I'm back, I'm back, I'm back.
Mhm.
So this is really just in alignment with that, my
Yeah.
day. So thank you. So I will definitely do that. And then you and I can connect and because it's something I want to get started right away. That it's not a wait thing for me. I want to press the button. Um, what would you share with somebody about that? I know we've talked about it with me, but what if somebody is does think about this or knows somebody that they could pass this information along? Um, is there anything that you could share with them about how this impacted you as a human being?
Some of the best people that I've met in my life, I've met at Practical Philosophy. And then as well, my friends who I knew before that, but then we've now kinda come into a working relationship more or less just because we do treat this similar to a business, you know, we it's consistent, we don't miss days, we're week in, week out, whether we feel like it or not. Similar to kinda what you were saying, it's just sort of whether I feel like it or not is like we show up and we start this conversation, and then it's an opportunity to kind of feel within yourself like, "Oh, how is this?" Right? And so I would say that one of the best things that's happened is it's deepened my relationships with my already existing friends, and then on top of that is I've met some of the most incredible people in my life through this. And then as well, you know, if I wanna fly anywhere in the world at this point that we have a practical philosophy set up, I know what kind of community, what kind of people I'm going to find. And yeah, it's just great. It's like, okay, these are my people, right? And we've more or less built this network of we're all very similar and yet also very different, but we do have that open-mindedness and that curiosity. And so yeah, we can listen to different opinions of each other. And you know, we yeah, I just know that's the type of person that I'm going to meet. And yeah, just like these deep conversations. One thing as well, similar, is the idea you have like a way of like, okay, we're gonna fix the world in X way, right? It's important when you have that idea to immediately start telling people about it, even when it's completely half-baked and sounds pretty stupid up front, because then you're going to get that pushback, like, "What do you mean this?" You know? And
Yeah.
from there
Well, also, do you charge? Like, how do you? That's the next question people would have. Like, is there a fee? Different venues cost different things. Like, I did mine, but it was really just to cover the cost of the venue. Because I hate thinking that I know money's going to switch for us really soon. But like, how do you handle that component with the different groups around the world? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so right now we are pretty centralized in that, I pay for, like, the meetup accounts, and I'll run ads. We're about to do an ad campaign and things like that, but, and at the current scale, it's fine. But say, for example, and I guess one of the things is we do not want money to be a barrier to entry here, which is one of the problems that people have with studying philosophy academically, right? It's like, what the is someone gonna be able to get a job as a philosopher? Probably not, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of economics, we're trying to build it, and we base a lot of what we do off of the Alcoholics Anonymous, their 12 traditions, right? Each group needs to be self-sustaining. And so if it does cost money to rent out a co-working place, just like get everyone in, hey, like let's all pitch in to just cover this cost, right? Or as well, you know, we just meet in mostly cafes. As long as most people get a drink, a coffee, a tea, some a croissant, whatever it is, right? Generally speaking, the cafe's happy with that, right? Say it's a random Wednesday night, you have 20 new people in your establishment, they're getting money, right? Because we don't charge a cover fee. Everything is always voluntary. You know, we have different setups, different things. In Playa del Carmen, they meet in Nest Co-working, which is a co-working place, obviously. And yeah, they just ask, hey, 50 peso donation. It's like two and a half, $3 or something like that. But it's not obligatory. But then what we do is we just give half of that money to the organization or to the co-working place, and then after that, we keep the rest, and we use that to pay for chairs if we need more chairs, and so it's kinda like this working relationship with the different establishments, and as we've gotten bigger, this has been easier to do because like, okay, this is not just a bunch of random people trying to scam people or whatever, this is an actual organization, so,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's,
Okay.
there's not a lot of money in this, so and I've not made any, so
Yeah. All of that works itself out. It really does. Um, Wow. Amazing conversation. I really appreciate you sharing everything. Look forward to the experience and how this unfolds. And if you guys are listening in and it's something you wanted to listen, or something you want to participate, start in your own community, I'll have the link wherever you guys are listening or hearing this. And yeah, anything last thing you'd like to share with the audience?
I guess one thing that we are thinking about doing at the moment would just be, can we bring these kind of conversations into a workplace or, into schools and things like that? So we do have a couple people who are teaching sort of the young crowd. Just say we have one person teaches a grade 7 class, and so he's teaching I guess the method of critical thinking which we have in his classroom now. And so, yeah, it's pretty much just this communication and critical thinking ability that we're developing. Yeah, we're pretty much just trying to standardize that and yeah, bring it everywhere that we can. So yeah, if as well if
Yeah.
there's any, I guess, businesses or anything that also want to train employees on this, and that could be a cool way of also bringing that open mindedness and communication ability there too. So
Love it. I love this whole concept of these ideas that have this theme about connecting human beings together. It's extraordinary. So thank you for having the thought and bringing it into the world and communicating with me today about it. I appreciate it.
thank you for taking the time, Michael. Appreciate it.
Um, you guys listen in. I'll put that link. Anyway, go out and have yourself an amazing conversation with somebody that you don't know. Start your own community. Do something. Yeah. We'll see you on the next one, guys. Bye.